Greetings, welcome to another cold, frosty morning here on the Darling Downs. Getting a few more of those, definitely more in August than we have seen in June, July. More consistent, clear skies, and yeah, it definitely feels much drier now. They are expecting that going into spring, it's going to get very dry. I mean, they said that earlier, of course, that we're going to enter, a very dry period. But then, yeah, this winter hasn't been wet per se, but it's just been very gloomy, overcast, and yeah, not nearly as many frosts as usual. So grass was all green going into July, and now everything's browned off nicely as we have had some more frosts. And yeah, it definitely does feel that it is. I don't know. It's interesting. Since moving to the countryside, I've definitely paid much more attention to the weather patterns and just observed things around me. Especially compared to when living in the city. And of course, when I did farm work, working dairy, like I'm always checking the forecast every day, what the next morning is going to look like, especially when you have to work out in those conditions, whether it's the cold, frosty mornings in winter or hot summer days. Like when you work outdoors and you're exposed to the elements, it like you pay a lot more attention to this stuff rather than if you're just working in an office block or in the city or just in an inside air conditioning all the time, which I definitely don't think is healthy long term. I don't think we humans are meant to be in a constant climate controlled environment. I mean, with that, if I lived somewhere that gets extremely hot in the summer, I definitely would appreciate having AC, which we do get very hot days here on occasion, but not ongoing like some areas. Like if I lived in an outback region that got like scorching hot for months on end, yeah, definitely I'd want AC, no doubt. But like still, last few years on the Gold Coast, for example, when I grew up and lived on the Gold Coast first 21 years of my life, and until I was how old was I then? I think until I was 18 actually. Until I was 18, did not have AC at home. And believe me, when we got AC, I was very, very happy. But I quickly realized afterwards, I preferred to not use it if possible. I didn't have it running all the time. Anyway, I didn't grow up with AC, so yeah. And some of the summer nights were pretty brutal. Trying to sleep drenched in sweat. And heating was never really much of a problem on the Brisbane, Gold Coast, Southeast Queensland. It doesn't really get along the coast, very mild. It never really gets that cold. But out here's a different story. Out here it does get we get the proper cold mornings. We've got -2 today. Frequently drops below 0 on the cold winter mornings, but it doesn't last long. Like the days, usually if you get these cold frosty mornings, you get the clear skies like this, and then a warm sunny day. Days have been very, very warm. Like yesterday, I don't know what it was here, but I wasn't working here in town. I was out in Warwick, and it got to like 24 degrees. That's like a warm spring day. That's what it felt like, at least. But still dropping -2 overnight. So yeah, big range at the moment. Anyway, it's enough rambling about that. What did I want to talk about? Steady progress. I'm making steady progress. This is I noticed this time around, like I'm not so focused on making those quick short-term changes. I'm more so focused on just making long-term changes that last. That's really where my mindset has shifted, where I'm much more focused on just making those long-term changes that actually last, rather than just making a rash split-second decision and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then it doesn't last long. Because I know that's been my problem in the past, where I tried to make all these big changes at once, but I wasn't able to keep it going because I just tried to change so much at once, and then it just was unsustainable. So now my focus has changed, where I've just been focusing on one problem at a time. Focus on one goal, one problem at a time. Like at the moment, all my focus really has been getting settled in the new job, and it's going very well. It's the first 2 weeks done. I mean, I'm only doing 2 days there at the moment, but still some long days, 10 to 12 hours at the moment, very busy. with combining my old job and my new job. This last week I worked 50 hours, which I don't think I've worked that much before. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I've been, there was a short time in the past where I was working full time, but I don't think I ever worked 50 hours in a week. All my other jobs were always pretty much fixed in terms of the shifts. Well, this new job is not. Some days will be short, some days will be shorter, some days will be longer. It just depends on what work is available. I prefer that. I prefer having that flexibility because there's some days where you genuinely get busy, there's a lot to do, and then yeah, you want to finish the work for the day. But if you're like on a fixed shift, you can't really do that. It's just like, I don't know. I like to like get in that flow state. I'll have a big day, I'll get it all done. But then yeah, another day might be so super slow and it's like, okay, I'll go home early. That's perfectly fine with the new job. So I'm very happy with that. Whereas my old job, it's like I'm on fixed shift and like some days, like some days are so busy where it was like I wouldn't mind staying an extra hour or two. But I mean, I'm not, because I'm on fixed. It's all fixed, right? And I'm not going to get paid if I stay back. And if I don't get paid extra for doing overtime, I'm not doing overtime. No thanks. I work, and then I expect to get paid. That's it. I'm not doing any of that overtime nonsense with not getting paid. But I know some people, if they're on fixed salary, they will do that. I'm not doing that. I ain't doing that. Like, yeah. That's the thing. That's another thing. Like, don't. Yeah, I don't mind doing extra work, but then of course, like I expect to be compensated for it, right? Don't do extra work just for the sake of doing extra work. You know, that's it. Anyway, it's a fine line. There's a fine line there, fine balance to be struck. But yeah, I'm making steady progress. I mentioned in one of my last videos I'm not going to listen to music for 30 days. Well, I already went back on that. It's a tough one, especially with my my lifestyle. So anyway, I'm going to make an alteration to that, okay? No music except when driving. When driving, I can listen to what I want. I can blast music, no problem. When driving, but not at home, not outside of that. That's the rule. So I basically already went back on what I said when on my second day at work this week. Yeah, because from the office, I took the work ute. I drive 2 hours to a site, do a training induction, then drive 2 hours in that ute to another site. Yep, and that's where I did work for the day. Then from there, it was in a bit of a loop. It ended up being about 2 hours back to the office in the work ute, so that's 6 hours of driving, and then that was it for the day. Like for those 6 hours of driving in that day, I get paid because like the clock started as soon as I left. Basically, as soon as you leave the office, if you have to drive somewhere, as soon as you leave the office, or even let's say if you live in Toowoomba, based in Toowoomba, I was staying in Toowoomba overnight. So as soon as I left Toowoomba, that's when the clock started. So I get paid for those 6 hours driving. But then anyway, that was it for the week. And then I drove back to the office, and that was like 5 p.m. Shift ended. I worked like 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Long day. And then I jumped in my car and I drove 2 hours home. So I did 8 hours driving in that day. And yeah, this job is going to require a lot of driving. And man, like driving to the place in the morning, I didn't have any music going. It was nice actually. On occasion, I want to like drive without listening to anything, just drive in silence. It's nice on occasion, but especially when you have to drive these long roads, and it's like, yeah, it was interesting. I saw some new places I hadn't been before. Got to visit town of Esk, Somerset region for the first time. That was nice. Haven't been up there. Haven't been up that way before. But man, after a while, it just gets to the point, especially in the evening, like I was not in the mood of driving home. So then I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to play some of my favorite tunes. So I did that. It was nice. Good way to stay awake. For me, music is really a way to stay concentrated on long drives, because especially when it all just looks the same and you're just driving in a straight line pretty much, which is what it was, all flat and straight. When I was driving, it was great. And yeah, especially after it went dark, like that's how I was able to concentrate, because I don't drink coffee. I try not to. If I have to like stay up late or go on a very, very long drive, I'll drink coffee, but I don't want to make it into a habit, so I usually try not to drink coffee. So yeah, music is really probably one of the best ways I found to stay concentrated on the road. It just keeps my focus going, and yeah, it's just a good way to pass the time. Music or a podcast. I don't know. When I do long drives, I prefer not to listen to podcasts because it can put me to sleep. Yeah, and I usually like to listen to podcasts and watch videos and all that stuff usually in the evening. Like sometimes what I would do when driving is I would just put YouTube videos on in the background, like just listen. Of course I can't watch anything, but I'll listen to podcasts or YouTube videos in the background. But I don't really do that on driving anymore, especially in the day, because like I tend to do that usually in the evening anyway, and then I find it puts me to sleep. But music, that keeps me awake, that keeps me going. So yeah, long drives, and especially while at work and all that, it's a good way to break up the time, break up the day. So you know what, I decided I can listen to as much music as I want when driving, but when I'm at home or when I'm doing anything else, no music. That's going to be the rule from now on. So steady progress, right? I'm not doing an outright ban on music where you don't listen to music anymore. Like, and look, there's nothing wrong with listening to music, but it's more so I just want to be a lot more conscious about what I'm doing, what I'm allowing in my life, all that. Just become more conscious of everything. So like, okay, you can listen to music when driving, good. So I'm conscious about that. No, I just don't want to do things unconsciously anymore. That's what I'm getting to here. So yeah, that's how that's going. It's going well. Right. And yeah, it's the weekend. Saturday, Sunday off. Very, very good. What's this damn ball line? Where's it gone, Gus? Oh, here it is. Let's go. Here, ball. Didn't drop the ball. Good. So, yeah, making steady progress. And it's the same thing. It took a long time for me to get to the point where I could say I'm finally ready to commit to a year on semen retention, but just day by day, small steps, baby steps. Done. I mean, it's interesting. There's a time where I would say, generally speaking, for the most part, it's good to just take things in small steps, baby steps. That's true. That's true. But then there's also a time to just take action, like big action, drastic action. And I've had a few of those moments recently where I just had to take the big step, big action, you could say a leap of faith. And yeah, every single time that I've done that, when it just, everything just feels right and you have to do it, every single time I've taken that leap of faith, it's always turned out for the best. Always, every single time. So, but you need to experience it a few times, and you need to learn to just trust the process, and you need to learn to just recognize when it's right. No, it doesn't come easily. Meditation, prayer is very important, especially in these times, to get mental clarity, even in a sense get almost confirmation that yep, the time is right. But yeah, anyway, it's interesting. That's something where being on semen retention definitely has also made a difference. Like I said, the mental clarity, ability to focus, that's where you remove all these modern day poisons from your life, cut out all the distractions, and the mental clarity will return, the focus will return, and then as a result, you're really able to make those changes and really just focus, really just recognize where you're at and see when the time is right to make those changes. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. Doing well, making some steady progress, and yeah, apart from that, gonna go to some markets. This morning there's one place I wanted to go try out some. There's one European themed market in a neighboring town that I went to a few weeks ago, and yeah, they meant to have these Austrian donuts that I really enjoyed when I was over there. So I want to they ran out last time. They were so that popular, so yeah, I want to leave after this, go to those markets, see if I can get some of those donuts, and yeah, I don't know, just go on a bit of a shorter drive, and yeah, see what I could find. So yeah, it's interesting. Over time, I've gradually cut out more distractions. Video games, I don't play video games anymore. It's been like, it's again been like, I haven't even set any rules that I can't play video games, that I'm cutting out video games. And I only did that once, actually. Once I did that where it's like, okay, I'm not playing video games, when back when it actually was a problem. cut games out for like half a year. I set that rule, okay? And then I allow video games again. I would occasionally play, but it's never been like the old days. I've never felt that drive to just possibly game anymore. I don't really care about it. Yeah, now without even setting any goal, it's been like 8 months since I last played video games. And just because I've been so busy with other things, I just had so many other things to do, other things to focus on. I just have not played video games. And it's like, it's just nice when you don't have anything weighing you down. You have that mental clarity, you have that ability to focus. And I'm not saying you can't say play video games and be focused on what you want to do. Like, sure, listening to music, video games, all these external stimuli, you can, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, let's get this down. Where is this? Here it is. Just trying to get out of here, cuz. Here we go. It's stuck on some hay. All right, let's get out of here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll catch you all in the next video. Onwards and upwards. Over the ball.